One thing about me that very few people probably know right now is that I just gave birth to my first son. First baby in general. I'm Shannon Lee. I'm with Baking Shananigans here in Charleston, South Carolina, and today my key ingredient is Biscoff. It's just this nice crunchy texture that you don't get from any other cookie. Any chance I have, I try to use Biscoff in baking, so ice creams, cheesecakes, fillings for cakes, all of those different things. And you can also make it like a crunchy spread. Just put between two layers of white bread and make yourself a little sandwich. Act like it's peanut butter and healthy for you, but it's not. This is my Biscoff Swirl Cheesecake. This actually utilizes both the spread and the cookies, which is why I really love it. First, we're gonna make the crust. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of our Biscoff cookie crumbles, about a 1/4 cup of sugar, about 3/4 cup of melted butter. And then all you're going to do is mix that together. So once that is all folded together, take your springform pan. If you don't have a springform pan, you can use a regular cake pan. You're just gonna have a little bit of a harder time getting it out because the sides won't open. I always line my pan with a little bit of parchment paper. It just makes the release process on the bottom a little bit better. And then take all of our crust. We are going to just spread it around, pressing it down into the base. Now that we have the crust made, we'll set that aside and we're going to start on the cheesecake batter. All right, we're gonna start by adding the cream cheese into the mixing bowl. Now this is about 32 ounces of cream cheese, which seems like a lot, but trust me, it is totally worth it for that nice and rich kind of New York style cheesecake that we're going for. Now lock it in and beat it until it's nice and fluffy. Now once that is nice, light, and fluffy, we are going to start adding our sugar. So now we'll start adding our eggs, again, one at a time. Those eggs will tighten up the cream cheese mixture, so you really want to make sure you're getting everything combined nice and evenly. So now we're going to divide this batter in about half. Then we are going to add our Biscoff paste to that batter. So we are going to take about a 1/2 cup of Biscoff spread. We are going to use about 2 teaspoons of vanilla, about a 1/2 cup of whole milk, and a tablespoon of cornstarch to bind it all together. The smoother that you can get this paste, the smoother the batter will be when you add it into our cheesecake over here. We are going to add it into our reserved cheesecake. Scrape it all in, and then I just like to fold it all together. So now we are going to build the cheesecake. I like to use a cookie scoop because it allows for the same amount to go in every single time, and I'll show you just how easily it's gonna go. So we're just going to take the first one, go straight in the center, don't even do anything with it, and you're gonna go right into the plane, and then just back and forth. As you are building it up in the middle, it should be spreading out to the edges. It's a nice thick cheesecake. It'll look like a lot of batter at first. Remember, there's that 32 ounces of cream cheese in there, but if you're eating cheesecake, you might as well eat a big slice. That's what I always say. And then I finish off with the Biscoff layer, because that's what the real star of the show is. Now to flatten it out, we're just going to tap it just to move those layers out to the edges and get it nice and flat. So now we are going to pop the cheesecake in the oven. You'll have your oven set at about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a convection oven at home, you want to make sure that it's on a low fan setting. We don't want any of the fan blowing around our cheesecake. We're going to bake this nice, low, and slow. We'll take our pan, wrap a little bit of aluminum foil around the bottom to create a second seal, because we are going to be baking this in a water bath. And the last thing you want is for water to get into your cheesecake and make it all gunky. So we are going to just kind of wrap this along the edges all the way around and tighten it up. And then we are going to pop it all on a baking sheet. Bring the pan to the oven, Place it in, put water about 1/4 of the way up the pan. You don't need all that much water. Close it, bake it for about an hour, 45 minutes depending on your oven temperature. Once it's nice and puffed up in the middle, you can touch it with your finger. It won't stick to your finger and it kind of just like jiggles and then stops. You are all set and you can pull it out to cool and chill overnight. So I actually, fun fact, do not love sweets anymore because I get to eat so many of them and tasting and making sure everything's okay. But Biscoff is the one thing that I will always eat. It just makes me happy. So you can see when I cut through that, you get this really nice, thick crust. It's not going anywhere. It's not going all down you. You can get a really great bite out of it, and you never have to ask me twice to eat Biscoff.